Welcome back to the channel. Today I am moving some stuff from my one shop to the junkyard shop, and I need my trailer. So when I went and picked up the GTO, I blew out a tire like a mile away from my house after already getting the GTO and dropping it off at the junkyard, and then just coming home like right down the street, blew a tire out. And I have all Chinese tires except for one Goodyear. So guess which tire blew out? It was a Goodyear, but I already pulled them all off, ready to go. Everything is in the back of my truck. I have the new tires. We'll go check them out. These are the tires that came on the trailer when I bought it. And I bought the trailer quite a while ago. So I went and picked up the FDRX7 in California, drove to Oklahoma, been all over the country with this trailer and these tires. So this one Goodyear blew out. But what I'm thinking is there were 4 Goodyears on it and the other 3 blew out and they replaced them with Chinese tires. So these are E-load 10 ply and I bought F-load 12 ply. So I'm gonna replace them with some 12 plies. I was thinking about going up to 16, but most of the stuff I haul isn't that heavy. Or, you know, if it's gonna be like a truck or something, I'll just haul one truck. I'm not gonna be hauling 2 trucks at the same time. What I'm gonna do is I'll throw the link in the description, pull these tires off. I'll save these good Chinese tires because I mean they look almost brand new. I mean they have plenty of life left in them. I want to have a spare, so this trailer has never had a spare, and what I'm going to do is get another wheel. I kind of want to repowder coat these wheels, but I need to get this done today, and I'll get a spare. Then I could have, you know, not have to worry about if I blow another tire out. And luckily enough I was just down the street, but then I could get these on there, get them balanced, and then just have a spare for later on down the road once I find another wheel or order another wheel. I now have all the tires mounted on the trailer wheels. The only thing that wasn't able to be done is having them balanced. So for some reason, didn't have the correct collet to get the wheels to center on the balancing machine. Usually I've never balanced trailer wheels and tires, but I was, it was gonna be a first for everything, but I guess not because I didn't end up balancing them. So we have them mounted. I have the yellow dot where the valve stem is, which is what it's supposed to be. I guess there's like an inconsistency, so you're supposed to put it right on the valve stem. And we have 3 good tires from the trailer. So I'm gonna make one of these a spare, probably end up selling the other 2, and then we have the bad Goodyear over there. So what I think, before I bought this trailer, these are the tires that were on it. And what I think happened, since these ones look newer than that Goodyear, the Goodyear is kind of starting to dry rot and everything. Probably reason why the sidewall maybe blew out of it. That tire, I feel like that tire has been unbalanced for a long time. But I feel like the other 3 Goodyears blew out and they replaced them with these, and then that's just the final one. So yeah, sometimes Chinese tires aren't the worst. I have the wheels and tires installed on the trailer. It's 2 days later because we had 60 to 70 mile an hour winds for the past 2 days, and now it's nice and calm. So let's head over to the shop, grab the FD and the Pulsar GTI-R. Everything is hooked up, and I'm really happy that I have these new tires. One thing I'm gonna have to fix once I get to the junkyard, the one thing I don't like about trailers is they don't do things very well. So this fender right here is broken off the welds, but it's like welded only one place in the center, and then they're just like little, 1/2-inch welds or tacks or whatever you want to call them. So as this thing vibrates, it just starts to progressively break the tacks because it's vibrating the tacks, and once it gets worse and worse, it's easier to break them. So what I'm going to do is actually, see it's cracked right there. What I'm going to do is actually replace this piece with a piece of 1/8-inch steel, and I'm going to weld it all the way down this rail so it's nice and solid. And I'll do the same thing on the inside. I'll weld it all the way across, but I need to buy a piece first. So I'll cut this out because I think it's really close to rubbing the tire, and I don't want to mess up my brand new tires. So let's head over to the shop, and then once I get to the junkyard, I'll cut those out. So over at the shop, we're gonna get the Pulsar GTI-R and the FD. I'm gonna wash the FD off before we head over to the junkyard with it. I also need to wash off the 3000 GT. So since there's been so high winds here lately, so in December, it was like 100 to I think 110 miles per hour wind. And that's when everything in here, you can see how much dirt and dust is on the floor. It was penetrating the seal on the garage door because it was pushing it back. So at the same time, my truck was sitting in the driveway, and pretty much it just literally got sandblasted. I mean, the windshield on it, I barely can see through it. I still need to, you know, I still need to fix all that stuff. I need to get a bunch of stuff fixed. So a bunch of people were asking me what was going on with the roof, and you know, it got sandblasted. So and then I started moving shops, and you know, etc. You guys know the story and the situation. But now, you know, the trailer rides really nice with these nice new tires. No bouncing around anymore. That Goodyear, I think, was just, you know, causing a weird imbalance in it. It always had this weird, you know, wobble to it. But yeah, let's get the I might put some air in the tires on the Pulsar. I probably don't need to. It looks like they all have some air in them, and I just had to buy a winch controller. I'll bring the winch down and I'll be able to pull this out. This one is pretty heavy just because I think one of the rear parking brakes is sticking, so we'll get that up there and just kind of go from there. I'm really happy that this is going to be finally inside instead of sitting outside, because you know, it's getting summer, and you know what happens in summer now everywhere is it hails. So I don't want to have this thing get any more dents on it. It has a few little tiny dings, but maybe it got hailed on once before. But yeah, we'll get this thing all body worked and repainted anyway. But I have the FD and the Pulsar GTI-R loaded on the trailer. I unfortunately didn't have enough of the heavy duty straps, so I have the FD strapped down with one big strap, and then in the front the winch is holding it. And then the Pulsar, it's all-wheel drive, the e-brake's on, and it's in gear, but I also have 3 of these crappy straps on there. I'm not going to go very fast, so I shouldn't really have to worry about it, but you know, I'll just take it slow down easy, speed up easy. Won't be that big of a problem. In here I need to clean up the VR4. I'll probably just drive the VR4 over to the shop eventually once I'm ready to paint the side skirts and paint the rear bumper and just paint all the rest of the knickknacks that I need to do on it. It's nice to have the FD out of here. Gives it a little bit more space, and I need to get the 240SX with the LS1 over to the shop as well. All I really need to do to this is put a fuel tank in it, hook up the fuel system, put an ECU, I'll probably put a Holley Terminator X on it, and do an intake, hook up coolant lines. I mean, there's not very much left to do on this thing, and she'll be ready to go. I mean, other than that, I need to also make a drive shaft, because the drive shaft that was supposed to work with this, the carbon fiber one I had, didn't. So I'll just make an aluminum one, and other than that, she is pretty much ready to go. You know, stop tech, 6-piston big brakes in the front. I need to probably do some Z32 brakes in the rear. Maybe some different wheel setup. These are 18s, the Mustang 18 by 10s, I think. But yeah, we'll worry about this later on. I also want to get a new quarter panel, put it on there, reskin it, and then repaint it eventually. So my friend Ben's car has been in here for a long time. What I'm doing is I ordered the stuff for the intake manifold, and then I'm going to wire up the Mega Squirt, and then that'll pretty much be out of here. But yeah, then I could get all the stuff off these shelves, take the shelves down, and I'm going to bring the tire machine, my air compressor, the press, that parts washer over there. I'll probably just end up selling it after I fix it. I don't really think I'm going to need it or use it. It heats it up, and one of the capacitors was bad, and that's why I got it pretty cheap. And then I have this air compressor, which I'm probably going to end up using my Craftsman air compressor motor on this Speed Air dual stage air compressor, because this is a lot better air compressor engine right there. Just pulled into the junkyard, and man, I can't believe these straps held, because I've had some of these break when I was holding a car down. But like I said, I had it, the parking brake set, and it in gear, so it didn't have a chance to move too much, which is really nice. I was taking it really easy as well, because I didn't want to have anything happen to either of these cars. Mostly the FD, because the Pulsar needs a lot of work, but it's nice that nothing happened. So let's get the FD unloaded, get the Pulsar unloaded, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Grand Prix over there so I could push them into the shop that way, since we have the Integra in there right now. So I need to get the Integra off the lift, and then I can get the Pulsar on the lift and start working on getting all of the stuff in the next, you know, in the next video, so I can get the engine and tranny out, figure out what's wrong with the transmission, see if the transmission has like a stripped gear, or if it's just the throwout bearing, or what's wrong with it, because it makes a lot of weird noises if you try to drive it. I have the Pulsar GTI-R in the shop, as well as the FD, and I'm very happy. Now that the FD has been inside pretty much ever since I've owned it, but the Pulsar, since I've had it, has been sitting outside, which I have not wanted it to be. So now that she's inside, I can also work on her. Has some weird sticking issue with, I think, the parking brakes. She is very, very hard to push. So I think what's going to happen is I'll get the Integra off the lift sometime next week, and or maybe sometime this week. I'm not exactly sure. I have to travel, but sometime this week or next week, then I can get the Pulsar up there and start figuring out, assessing the situation. I want to get the engine out of there because I need to refresh that, which I need to take it apart and pretty much just go through it. It's supposed to be a forged bottom end, and the head, I think, is stock with stock cams. It has ARP head studs. The head gasket was installed incorrectly. Probably will have to get that decked on the head and the block as well, just like I had to do on the Integra. But the FD, I need to do quite a bit of work to this. Not really a lot of work to get it running and driving. I'm going to Cerakote the exhaust housing, the turbine housing, the wastegates, as well as a bunch of other stuff. And then pretty much I just need to paint the engine bay, clean a bunch of stuff up. I'm going to clean the transmission up as well, throw the engine, throw the transmission back in there with the 9180 EFR, and I could throw my original intake manifold now that the new one's designed. I just need to send that off and have it made, and then I could have this thing running and driving again. So besides that, I need to do a whole new radiator setup. I want to do dual oil coolers or probably a different oil cooler setup. And pretty much besides that, I want to respray the car as well. But to get it running and driving again, it's not too far off. So I could probably have this running and driving pretty soon after I paint the engine bay. Then I'll have to get it retuned because now I have a Haltech instead of the Power FC, which I'll probably just end up selling the Power FC that I have. Or what I was also thinking I could do is I could throw that Power FC, the FD wiring harness, as well as the FD engine and clutch into the FC, and then have like a 500 horsepower FC, which that'd be awesome. And then I could put a billet 13B in this because my other rotary, it is built, but you know, it would really be really nice to have a billet one in here. But then that's opening a whole nother thing, a whole nother bunch of stuff to do with the FD, and it'd just be really nice if it ran and drove. So we'll see what happens, but that's a possibility, throwing this into the FC, having a 500 horsepower FC, and then I want this to be around 650 to 700, which is very doable with the engine that's in it, or that's not in it, the engine that came out of it. But we'll see what happens because I really want to drive this thing again. It's so much fun to drive. And I also need to paint this. I've said this quite a few times. This is coming up really, really soon. I have just been needing to move stuff. So once everything's moved, I'm also going to move. I need to get the powder coating oven, the air compressor, a bunch of other stuff. And then I could get some of the stuff for the Jeep right here, the straps for the fuel tank hanger, the parking brake cable. I'm powder coating all that stuff so it's nice and clean. Don't have to worry about it rusting. Not exactly sure if I'm going to powder coat or Cerakote the lower control arms for the charger. I've been in kind of a holding mode because I don't know what I want to do, because on these bores back here, if I Cerakoted them, they would be, you know, eventually those will probably rust. Probably most likely not, it's chrome moly, but it could rust. So if I Cerakote it, it'll have a coating on there, it'll be fine, I'll never have to worry about it. So we'll see what happens. Might end up Cerakoting that, which if I do that, I'll do the front lower control arms as well. It'll just be really, really clean. So what I'm gonna do now is, before I end the video, I wanna fix what's going on with my trailer fenders. So I might not fix it all the way, I might just cut them out just so they're not rubbing anymore. I don't know if they're rubbing, I don't think they are, but they're very, very close because the welds keep breaking. And the last thing that I want happening over here is, you know, my brand new tires for another weld to break, and then it to slice a nice hole in the tires or a gash in the tires, and then I have to buy a whole new set of tires. Because when I buy tires, I buy sets instead of just one or two. It's just a lot nicer. So let's get this fixed. I'm gonna jack this side up and then assess, see if this tire was actually rubbing on it. And I may end up just hammering it back. And I think what's going on is stuff can fall in between here because it's not welded. And then the more stuff that falls down in there, the bigger the space gets and the more the welds, and then there's a vibration and the welds just crack. I'd rather just have a piece of 1/8 inch plate in there. So I may end up just cutting both those out for right now and then coming back and welding some plate in there. So on the passenger side of the trailer, I got that wheel arch cut out and it was actually rubbing. It wasn't rubbing on the new tires yet, but you can see the markings right there. So I'm really happy that I did it, because when they build trailers, they just build them so cheap. I mean, it's just crazy. I redid the wiring on this trailer, haven't had an issue since. And what I'm gonna end up doing is exactly like I said. Instead of, actually it'll be a lot less material than that, I'm just gonna go from the top of this into here and then just weld this all the way, probably on this side, so material can't get in it this way like it was before, because that was probably the biggest issue. Water and leaves and dirt started packing in down there as there was vibration, and the more that it vibrates, the more stuff got in there until it broke the welds. And once one weld broke, it just progressed and started breaking more and more welds because there's more and more vibration. So I'll get that whole thing welded. These were already drive-on trailer fenders, but an 1/8 inch piece of plate on the back of that will make them a lot more rigid and there'll be a lot less vibration from the trailer. So I think once I'm done with that also, I'm gonna do something similar like I did to the Jeep. I'm just gonna use some of the Raptor and the wheel arches of the trailer, and I'm probably gonna redo the trailer eventually, but I'll have to blast it, probably repaint it red. I really like that, but the paint they used on it was kind of cheap, and it had pinstriping and stuff. I don't know why, you know, trailers are just really cheap. So we'll get this refreshed over time, but I'm just really happy that I don't have to worry about any of these tires rubbing. As you can see how much that had to warp to actually be touching that tire. Next video, I'll be able to bring my powder coat oven, the air compressor, all the stuff I need to get some stuff done on the Jeep, some stuff done on the Charger because I need the powder coat oven for that, and some stuff done. We'll get the Durango painted and get all of that finalized finally, because I'll have my air compressor. I could actually blow up the booth, spray the body, spray the doors, spray the bumper. Pretty much it'll go really quick. The rear hatch doesn't need any body work, spray that, and we'll just kind of go from there. If you like these videos, make sure to click the subscribe button, thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.